Good afternoon. Today, we will continue to study about the subordinating conjunction whose after the pronoun who. Previously, we studied about the pronoun whose as the interrogative clause to start an interrogative clause. But the speaker can apply the pronoun whose as the subordinating conjunction in a way to transform the interrogative clause to a subordinate clause. So the pronoun which is applied as an interrogative pronoun, becomes the subordinating conjunction whose. The premise, we dealt with the premise to apply the pronoun whose as the interrogative pronoun. The speaker indicates an object that belongs to a subject. The speaker can indicate the object with the interrogative pronoun whose with the inquisitive intent. The speaker who stated the interrogative pronoun with who stated the interrogative clause with the pronoun whose may not have an inquisitive intent anymore. Then the speaker can transform the interrogative clause to the subordinate clause. The speaker changes the arrangement of the subject and the be verb, or the speaker does not apply the modal verb do or does and other modal verbs. In that way, the interrogative clause transforms into a subordinate clause. Let's read the explanation together. The speaker links the subordinate clause to the main clause with the pronoun whose as a subordinating conjunction to indicate a subject or an object that belongs to the other subject. The range of the subject or object indicated by the pronoun whose, which belongs to the other subject, is specified with the description in the subordinate clause. The subordinate clause indicates the subject or object. The object belongs to a subject and whose range of indication is specified by the description in the subordinate clause. So the subordinate clause indicated by the pronoun whose is applied as a subject or an object in the main clause with the trait as a pronoun. As I introduced the pronoun whose as the interrogative clause, we will start to analyze the way that the interrogative clause becoming the subordinate clause. Let's read out the title together. So to convert an interrogative clause with the interrogative pronoun whose into a declarative subordinate clause and link the subordinate clause to the main clause. Let's read aloud the first example. I love whose, his are. In this sentence, the speaker applies the object of the transitive verb love in the main clause as the subordinate clause. The speaker indicates the object that receives the definition of the transitive verb love from the speaker in the main clause as the object which belongs to a subject and according to the statement of this subordinate subordinate clause, especially the subject in this subordinate clause, we can figure out the subject that the object belongs to. The subject is a male who does not participate in the conversation with the speaker and the listeners. The speaker indicates the object to receive the definition of the transitive verb love from the speaker as the subject with the subordinate clause whose, his, are. The subordinate clause whose, his, are is a converted statement from an interrogative clause whose or his to a declarative clause. The interrogative pronoun whose starts the interrogative clause whose or his as a subjective complement to define the subject his. In this interrogative clause, the subject his is described by the subjective complement whose in a way to define the subject. The pronoun whose, the interrogative pronoun whose, delivers the inquisitive intent of the speaker who intends to understand, who intends to know about the subject as a belonging of a male who does not participate in the conversation. The pronoun whose as a subordinating conjunction in the subordinate clause whose, his, are is applied to practice the role as a subject. As we analyzed the sentence into integration of the subordinate clause and the main clause, we can analyze the subordinate clause a bit more with this conference. Whose or his? This is the interrogative clause that became the subordinate clause. Whose, his, are. The speaker applies the interrogative pronoun whose to practice the role as a subjective complement to reveal the intention to clarify the fact that the subject his of the verb are occurred with the subject indicated by the interrogative pronoun whose, which belongs to a male who does not participate in the conversation with the speaker. And the clause in this conference is the previous form of the main clause of the sentence. I love them. The speaker links the subordinate clause to the main clause with the interrogative pronoun whose as a subordinating conjunction from the perspective that the object them, which received the definition of the transitive verb love from the speaker as the subject, occurred with the subject indicated by the interrogative pronoun whose in the interrogative clause whose or his.